All right, here we go. It is May the 14th. Is it? 14th. 14th of May. Still alive. So far. Still going. Still going. Now, I have the late great Bobby Short is here every morning, every day. And I'm going to get going right into it and listen to her. All right? Okay, excuse me. This is titled Bergstrom Air Force Base. Bergstrom, a U.S. Air Force base near east of Austin, Texas. Let me hold this up here. There we go. Hold on a minute here. There we go. Was at the one time the front line of the Strategic Air Command until 1993. At the time of its closure, it was assigned to the Air Combat Command. Mike Mays took a report that concerned an airman who had recounted a Bigfoot sighting on Bergstrom Air Force Base in 1981. Reportedly, the Bigfoot was chased away from pillaging through a group of dumpsters. The scent of the Sasquatch freaked out a badass. Okay, we read that one. Where did I leave this page open to? Hold on a minute. All right, here's another one. U.S. Army base at Fort Knox, Kentucky. They set up a camp in a clearing in the woods. Okay, this story came by the way of U.S. Army recruit who was stationed at the time at Fort Knox Army Base in Kentucky. The recruit was out in the field on a 3-day training mission when this occurred. They set up a camp in a clearing in the woods, every soldier to his own tent. The first night was uneventful, but the second night is when this happened. Large food trucks would come in near the artillery range, which means everyone would be awakened at 4 o'clock in the morning. The recruits would have to get up real quick, dress, and head over to get to the chow line. The witness was in line to eat when he suddenly realized that he had forgotten his gloves. It was very cold. Everyone had gloves on, so this kid thought he would get in trouble if he was caught without gloves. Thinking quickly, the new recruit snuck back 100 yards or so into the dark to the area where the tents were. No flashlight or anything. Apparently, it was very difficult to see anything very clearly. He located his tent, and as he did, he noticed a dark figure standing behind his tent. So he spoke out to him, saying, "Oh, did you forget something too?" There was no response from the dark figure. So he says again, "Hey, we should look lively. We need to get back out there or we will get in trouble." But again, there was no response from the man figure. There was just the recruit, the tent, and this thing, or dark figure, standing there. It was taller than he was. The silhouetted figure in the darkness was well built, wide shoulders, little neck apparent. Then it began to sway back and forth. Leaning forward, straining to see him, all the while continued swaying left and right behavior. The recruit did pretty much the same thing. He leaned forward and strained to make out the distinguishing features of this dark human figure who wouldn't respond to his words. At that same moment, the young recruit felt something wasn't normal. It was weird, and here he was with no weapon. He had an M16, but they weren't issued bullets for it. Startled, he starts to back up a little bit to reassess the situation, and just then, one of the food trucks starts to back up, and as it does, its headlights flash just for a second, but enough to give this recruit a very brief glimpse of the dark figure standing behind his tent. It was then he could see it was covered in hair. The sight so terrified the recruit that he backed up and took off running as fast as he could. He got back to the chow line and tried to tell other soldiers what he just saw. And nobody paid him any attention. They made fun of him, laughed at him of what he told them. He told them when the headlights of the truck lit up the dark figure, it was covered in light reddish hair, like the hair on an Irish setter. There's another one. I wonder if he's here watching this channel. Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Camp Lejeune is the home of the 2nd Marine Division, combat units, and support commands. Their mission: to maintain combat-ready units for the expeditionary deployment and humanitarian missions abroad. The base is massive, encompassing 156,000 acres, including 11 miles of beaches capable of supporting amphibious operations, gun positions, 48 tactical landing zones, 3 state-of-the-art training facilities, 80 live fire ranges, as well as a Sandy Run training area for 40,000 Marines. Wow. Of interest are the high number of reports of indigenous wildlife that are encountered on the base and its perimeter boundaries. Camp Lejeune abuts Holly Shelter Wildlife Management Area. That in itself is an additional 65,000 acres in Pender County, North Carolina, alongside Camp Lejeune and Camp Davis. Little known about Camp Lejeune is the Angola Bay Gameland area, which creates a continuous natural track for indigenous wildlife, large and small, totaling 87,000 acres, where all manner of wildlife live totally undisturbed. Much of Holly Shelter is remote and inaccessible. So inaccessible that an Army observation plane from Camp Davis, which crashed in the area in 1943, was not discovered until 1978. Non-military personnel, especially city dwellers, fail to understand the vastness of some military encampments in the USA. Wow, they got some frickin' real estate, don't they? Realizing the massiveness of the habitat that surrounds Camp Lejeune, it seemed reasonable that some of the wildlife would be of the hairy man types. Reports from Lejeune supported that idea. After finding the case file again in an old computer in 2012, I scoured the internet looking for any reference I could find regarding soldiers at Camp Lejeune and Bigfoot, or as the Marines called the hairy man, indigenous wildlife. I found Paul Hulsey, Hulsey, who was kind enough to reply to my questions in January 2012. Hulsey had written brief mention of an eyewitness account by 2 Marines in training camp Lejeune in North Carolina. My question to Hulsey was about that incident where a Bigfoot walked between 2 Marines in foxholes while on maneuvers. And Hulsey's response, quote, "Yes, you are correct, it was. I was out visiting my son on base when I was told the story. I didn't know there were any reports such as such at Camp Lejeune. I found it interesting and asked my son if there was a protocol for a Bigfoot hunter. He said that he was told that if they had an encounter with indigenous wildlife, they were not to engage but report. It made me wonder, how would anyone engage the wildlife? The military must look at it as an animal of some sort. I then found out that there were several reports, but not available to the public eye. Makes you kind of wonder what else they are not telling us, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I didn't get to interview anyone and most likely wouldn't have been able to see any records, but I found it interesting enough to start my own investigation of military protocol. Thanks for asking, and I hope I answered any questions you may have had. Paul Hulsey, Wednesday, January 25th, 2012. It makes sense to me that if they were finding tracks of an unclassified living being, the government ought to welcome our curious sightings and acknowledge our inquiries. You would think the federal agencies would be alert enough to know DNA would eventually give up the secret that they've tried to keep hidden from public knowledge. The fact that government agencies work hard to discredit serious research and otherwise act like they were all laughable signals me that the Bigfoot life forms are not simply an animal, as so many want us to believe, but a separate life form the government refuses to acknowledge. The question is why. And amongst otherwise. I don't have the answers to that, but the reports continue to surface. After Hulsey's brief narrative, out of the blue I received a brief note from a resident of Hubert, North Carolina, a little-known town that abuts Camp Lejeune. The email note was brief and simply asking for anonymity because of his proximity to the Marine base, and stated in the interest of research that sightings of Bigfoot on and near the base are, quote, commonplace, no big deal, ma'am. You get used to it around here. It don't even make the papers no more, end quote. And there you go. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Sounds like a big ass chunk of real estate, man. Now, what's this one? Maybe I'll move on to everybody here. This is a long one, and it's completely across the planet about the rock apes in Vietnam. So I'll leave this open for another day. We're not going to skip it, though. I'm not going to skip nothing. Now, okay, here's an article that was forwarded to me, and I decided to share it only because a while back, a couple of years ago, somebody, I don't know who this person was, got a hold of me. Their email was sounding a little off, though. They offered me $100,000 to go and wanted me to go in the woods and play guard for them with some weapons and blah, 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 asked a bunch of questions. I just shared too much, and it was just my gut was screaming, something's off here, man. But I think it was that person around the same time, because that memory coincides with the memory of being told that allegedly there are buildings, foundations were discovered in Alberta. The buildings were equivalent size of a football stadium or something near Calgary. And also allegedly the oil drillers had come up with SD card computer type chips from hundreds of feet below the surface of today's surface ground. Anyway, but that memory always kicked into made its way to a little shelf in the back of my brain as I try to put together and answer a bunch of questions that I have of unrelated and related topics, not just this dominant topic we have here. I'm babbling. Listen to this with photos. See if any of you sleuths know about this. The drill found encased in coal from millions of years ago marks the beginning of a perplexing historical mystery. In 1852, on December 13th, John Buchanan brought to light this enigmatic discovery. He described uncovering an ancient iron tool embedded in a piece of coal, which was itself enveloped by a thick layer of clay measuring over 2 meters. Buchanan presented this find to the Scottish Society of Antiquaries, challenging the conventional timeline of technology and geology. The Society's examination suggested that the drill had a modern design, yet they speculated it could have been inadvertently left by miners from a bygone era. However, Buchanan's observations indicated no recent disruptions in the coal structure, suggesting the tool had been encapsulated naturally over millennia. He recorded these details in the Society's minutes on the very day of the announcement, emphasizing the discovery's unusual circumstances. The drill was unearthed during the construction of the Great Western Road towards Glasgow's Botanic Gardens, directed by the esteemed architect and builder Robert Lindsay. His nephew, Robert Lindsay Jr., stumbled upon the artifact while excavating coal 3 meters underground for construction materials. The cleaned-up tool was then displayed at the local community, garnering both fascination and testimony regarding its authenticity. Further backing came from affidavits of 5 eyewitnesses to the drill's extraction. Buchanan, aligning with geological assessments, acknowledged the coal's ancient formation predating human civilization, yet remained intrigued by the advanced nature of the tool entombed within. He firmly advocated for the credibility of those witnesses, the find suggesting that the drill's presence at such depth warranted a rational explanation, albeit one yet to be uncovered. This account persists in challenging historical and scientific assumptions, adding to a series of similar anomalous finds that continue to intrigue and puzzle researchers and historians alike. There you go. And here was the only photo available with it. I probably should just put this in the... Is it gonna focus on here? Maybe? Come on. Hold on. There we go. Check that out. That's pretty clear. How close can I get this? That's pretty good. So, what do you think of that? A little odd, is it not? Wonder how many of you sleuths can are going to be interested enough to dive into that and take a look. But here's the deal. Let's just say, I mean, it sounds fairly authentic to me. Let's just say that someone sleuthed it out and confirmed, yep, that really happened. All right, so now we have a modern-sized drill bit entombed in charcoal, or coal, from millions of years ago. Proven. Fact. Just to say, shouldn't be too hard to prove that as a factual find, right? So that alone would turn everything upside down that we've been taught. Right? Now, here's the part that makes me go, what the F? So we get something like that. Our sleuths, it's easy to look into it, confirm, yep, it really happened, and yes, that drill bit was actually seriously entombed in coal. The majority of the human beings go, huh, wow. And then just keep flicking on their frickin' phones on mindless posts. And I'm not insulting to anybody. I'm just saying that's how it's going down right now. What the F, right? It's just like this topic that we talk about these people that are living around us in the forest and can do all this crazy ass shit. It's been proven, easily proven, that it's fact. And the majority of us human beings just sit here going like this. What's that? You got DNA from these things running around the forest? Wow. Flatline. How frustrating is that? It's not frustrating, it's frustrating. People do that. It's frustrating that we have been conditioned to do that. It sucks dick. Right? Why? Why? So frustrating. Knowing that we are intentionally conditioned to be dumb as a bowl of frickin' pickles. And then you get that burning sense of running out of time as you try to figure out truth. Realize that it's a steep hill. Right? It's a steep climb. Re-educating ourselves from scratch. Oh my gosh, I hope... Yeah, I'll bite my lip. I don't know why. I've got that revenge thing in me. I've got it in me. I got the payback in me big time, and I just hope these sons of bitches that are responsible for doing this to all of us, I hope we can get our hands on them in the next lifetime, or somehow in this lifetime, whatever. Such a theft and violation. Alright, this one's titled, Steve, I'm spilling my guts to you. I'm totally honest, so be prepared. All ears. First thing, Steve, this is for you and the people who grace the round table. It's going to be a very long email, but will be filled with a variety of info that most members should relate to. This includes 3 unique experiences. Please do not overlook this today. I've even spell checked / corrected all the words with every T crossed and every I dotted. Thank you for the recognition you bring to this topic so that people have a safe space. Also, thank you for being a hard ass and telling these trolls and non-believing boot-licking bastards to kick rocks when they try to hold our progress back. I love your attitude, and I'm a lot like yourself. My dream in life would be, when the end comes, for God to hand me a sharp sword, a pair of wings, and the ability for me to fly. And he points at all these people who has held us back from all the good we deserve to have as human beings. And he says the words, "Get him, boy." Just as you would tell a pit bull to attack the person breaking in your home. It would be on, like Donkey Kong. Would it ever? Note. Feel free to say my name aloud because I'm not scared of these evil bastards who try to hold us back. My name is Chris Singletary. I'm 52 years young from a small South Georgia town named Fitzgerald. Steve, this is going to be a summary of a little piece of my life that leads up to what has happened. Please be patient and allow the listeners out there to hear you read this in full because at the moment I'm writing this, I feel as though someone out there needs to hear it read in this story format. So thank you in advance. No problem. Let her rip. I spent most of my life chasing the so-called American dream I thought we all possibly did at one time. Marry the hottest girl. I need to get a nice car, a large house, in a good community, have the best job, etc. Over time, with most of this coming and going, we soon find ourselves in a totally different environment than what we dreamed of. Then we think, if I could just get back into church, or start a new, better job, or move to a different town, then I can do this the right way. But we are really just lying to ourselves again. Fast forward 2015 or 16, I find myself coming out of a failed relationship that I gave everything I had as a man. My loyalty, honesty, my time, my shoulder to cry on, my support. I think of an old 80s song by a group named Wham! And the words being sang by George Michael saying, "If my best isn't good enough, then how can it be good enough for two?" Now, with a lot of spare time on my hands, a little bit of depression creeping in, I find myself surfing the net one late night, and this stupid topic keeps popping up to check into. Warning, Steve, you're not going to like this topic. This I already know. But if you and the others want the truth, then you're going to have to take the good with the not so agree with, too. Flat Earth. I see the topic and I think to myself, who the F would think the Earth is flat? Fast forward. Here, let me inject right here real quick. It's not I don't disagree with Flat Earth. It's that I don't really have time for it, because I do realize wherever this is we are living on or in, it's not going to make a difference if it's an octagon, a triangle, a saucer to me. It's working for me. So, there. What I don't enjoy is when people threaten me nonstop. If you don't accept the Earth is flat, you're not going anywhere. Which makes me go, good, just shut up. So there you go. Fast forward again 2 years later, and my Flat Earth videos, discussions, etc., amongst other so-called conspiracy theory topics. I can honestly say this. Researching the Flat Earth topic brought me back to reading the Bible. And that led me back to accepting Jesus Christ into my life again. Whether the Earth is round, flat, square, etc., is not as valuable as the fact it got me out of the hell of depression I was in, and has sent me on a mission to be a better man and stand up for truth. So when I say this, I'm saying this to a man who I have never met, but have watched for 4 years and grown to love and respect him as a brother and a leader. I say this to a man who has said to us all, I just want to know the truth. So I say to you, Steve, don't quickly dismiss the flat/level Earth topic. We can agree to disagree, but as someone who put his whole heart into this, and has put the time, tears, laughs, and loss of friends and family, etc., to defend the topic, I'm saying as I would to my own brother, look into it, give it time, and with God's help, you will know the truth. Gotcha. Here's the main experience, which makes no sense to me other than I needed to have this in order to know there is true evil in the world, and everything you think might be a fairy tale could in fact just be reality. I hire a guy from out of the Atlanta area who wants to relocate south to come work for me in a retail sales job. He accepts the position and is adjusting to the slower-paced environment on the southern part of Georgia. Over the next few months, he keeps asking questions about wildlife, sounds in the woods, etc. I explain things to him, and when he asks for more details, I shut him down by just saying, quote, "That's just the way it is around these parts," end quote. Well, this goes on until one night he calls me and says, "Bro, would you be okay with coming with me this weekend and doing some fishing and looking through the woods?" I kind of laughed. But putting me on the spot like that, and me knowing I have been cutting him short on his questions, then the fact he's being used, and the fact that he has been used to a big city life and is now in no man's land, Georgia, I agree to come. The day I get there, he's really hyped up that I come to visit and is telling me these things about noises coming from the woods and how the dogs, 3 pit bulls, are going crazy. I'm not trying to wrap my mind around things, and jokingly said it's probably just coyotes or Bigfoot. Stevie looks me dead in the eyes and sincerely asked, quote, "Do you believe that's true?" I laugh and say, Well, I've been watching some videos of TV shows, but if Bigfoot is real, then they would have been done found him. Now take this into consideration, Steve. This is about 5 years ago, and I've just been learning about Bigfoot. I still think there's only one of them. And if it's even real at all, and that you can call him up by banging a baseball bat on trees and howling like a monster late at night, lol. Imagine if there's only one of something. Now that would be a frickin' mystery, right? If there was only actually one of something. Anything. I know much more. Oh, sorry. Truth be told, as of today, 2024, I know much more, as they are Sasquatch, also known as Sabe. They are in every country, and are in fact as real as you and I are. Personally, I think they are either a form of man that has existed here on Earth for many years that, unlike man today, aka our civilization, just simply took a different route in life, as to live in peace amongst others, in the wilderness, and hold higher values, have respect for things, therefore they have higher powers or abilities. Or they are an offspring of the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the daughters of man, DNA, or possibly a mixture of man and primate hybrid. Going back to the story. I tell my friend, look, we will go out here in the woods and see what's going on. Steve, I was 230 pounds, standing 6'1". Very built at this time and have lots of martial arts and street fighting experience. I'm not scared of anything, except spiders. Haha. So when I tell this guy we're going in the woods, that's exactly where we will go, or so I thought. We load up the flashlights, the knives. He grabs his pistol, and we take one of the pit bulls with us. The plan is to get in the boat, 12-foot aluminum slash with trolling motor, and troll along the edge of the pond to check things out. Check things out there first, because it winds down into an area he suspects the sounds are coming from. We get in the boat around 11:30 at night, and I immediately start playing some Sierra sounds from my phone to the Bluetooth speaker. Every once in a while, I bang my fist on the seat brace area of the boat to make a boom boom sound, as if it were a knock on a tree to get this Bigfoot to come out. If only I knew it was about to happen, I would have changed my mind to not have this experience. I think I would have chose to still have the experience, but not at that moment it happened. I'm going to write this part just as if I was telling another person, like, say, giving a police report or something like that. And here's what happened. I continued to make knocking noises and changing the Bluetooth speaker to play different Bigfoot sounds, noises, and even played some rabbit in distress and deer in distress sounds. We are steadily shining the flashlights into the woods from the boat. We're staying about 20 to 30 feet from the edge of the pond and just trolling around the edges, looking in every corner. This pond is maybe 10 acres or so, and half of it has woods that come directly up to the water. There is a pond dam around 100 yards along that has very thick woods behind it. The land he lives on is maybe 30 to 40 acres, and all around him is farmland. The nearest neighbors are a quarter mile away, and this area sits about 15 miles west from the city of Douglas, Georgia. This is prime hunting and farming country. The Ocmulgee River, Ocmulgee River, is only 10 miles away north. I'm telling you this to get an idea where we are, so that if you looked on a map, you can see how this is an easy, navigable area to go here and there with no one to see you. Around 2 a.m., we're getting bored, and we start to plan where to go next. I can't remember if my friend noticed first or if I did and alerted him, but we start shining the light and looking in a certain area. We navigate the boat left and right and get closer to where we thought something was. I don't see anything. So I ask, can we go around the corner, curved part of the pond on the other side of the woods where that moonlight's coming from, and point to the left? He says back to me, the moon's back here. I said, what? I turned to see behind him is the near full moon, And I say, if that's the moon, then what's that? And I point back the other way to see a bright light shining down, as if a moon were shining down, reflecting on the pond around the other side of the pond. He sees this too. And we troll around this patch of woods, going around a curved area of land to the other side of the pond, and this light is moving away from us. As we continue on around the corner, it keeps moving away until we get around to the other side, and the light disappears upward. Like if you shined a flashlight in the dark and can see the beam almost come back toward the flashlight when it's cut off. This light shoots up into the sky, and this is what I observe. I see it go into this silver-colored circular thing that's way up in the sky, and then two other similar but slightly smaller begin to circle this larger craft, and it all looks like a large movie screen with the stars being there. Dark sky, but light coming in, maybe as if from the moon, and it is so quiet around. The kind of quiet that you can hear your own heartbeat, and you're in an aluminum boat on water that easily makes noises, but it is still completely quiet. These things circle around as if they were going down a drainage, yet they are going upward. I catch a glimpse of what I would say was a dark figure standing behind a cypress tree, right at the water's edge, maybe 10 feet up a dirt embankment. I asked my friend to move the boat left so that I can see more around the left side of this tree where my light is shining. And as we did, this dark figure would twist to the right, circling the cypress tree. I see it, and he does as well. I look back and tell him to back up slowly, and that's when I noticed the dog was just focused on that same area as we were, but was not growling and barking a bit. Steve, I promise you, that dog turned its eyes toward me and looked at me with the almost human eyes as if he was asking me, what the F is that? We back up and discuss what we've seen quietly. I tell him I'm going to do another knock and to just stay still. Uh-oh. Boom, boom on the boat. Not even 2 seconds go by, and all my life, this is what happened. From directly in front of us, where we've seen this dark figure, comes trust me when I say this, the most clear, very loud, skin-piercing knock, knock. Then from the right side of the pond, maybe 30 yards away, knock, knock. Then immediately behind us, maybe 100 yards away, knock, knock. I felt my whole body melt with fear. I cannot put into words what I felt, other than there has never been any horror movie that can come close to the fear I had. But this fear was not from being scared. It was from the fear you would get if you were a rat and suddenly you looked around and seen 3 cats surrounding you. Except also knowing that running wasn't going to help anything. It was a moment in life where all the fights I ever got into, if the choice come to fight or flight, I was fighting every time. This was the moment I wanted to choose flight. Except the reality kicks in that there is no running, and you are 100% done for, and no one is to blame. You got your own self into this, and now comes the end. It seemed like minutes went by, but it was only a few seconds, and I remember turning to my friend and saying, "You set this up, didn't you?" "Yeah, you got people out here doing this." He innocently says, "No, Chris, this is the way it's been out here. That's what I wanted you to see." A million things are running through my head, and I'm trying to process it all, and the last thing that I can recall at this time was, it's damn near 3 a.m. And he getting 3 people to come out here and stay this long to scare us is not going to happen. Especially, he barely knows that many people down here yet. As this thought occurs, the loudest, ear-piercing sound comes from behind us, near where the last knock came from. "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" A barred owl. I instantly turn and scream, "Go, go, go, we gotta get out of here." Go to the edge of the pond where the truck is now. You don't understand what this thing can do to us. Go, 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 damn it. When we get there, I'll just jump out and grab the boat and tie it up. You grab the dog and we'll get the boat tomorrow. Go, go, go. We do exactly that and peeled out of there fast. We go to his house, which is maybe 3 football fields away from this pond. We get inside and the other 2 dogs are raising hell, barking and scratching at the cages they are in. We lock all the doors, grab shotguns, load them, and wait in the man cave he has and watch his outside cameras for the next 3 hours until daylight. Steve, this is bringing up all kinds of emotions for me right now because I have never been able to share this with anyone. What's even crazier is that me and this friend have only spoken maybe 3 times after this. He eventually moved back to North Georgia. I tried to contact him, but I never got a return call, and it's been years since I've seen him. When I reflect back, I wonder why that dog didn't bark when those knocks and owls sounded off. Pit bulls are well known for not being scared of anything. This bugs me. And the fact that there was those lights in the and the fact that what was those lights in the sky about? Thank you for providing a platform for everyone to share their experiences and get it out of the dark so things can heal inside. It's such a thrill and good feeling to hear other likewise people making the same walk as you and I. So, Steve and all members of the Round Table of Knowledge, keep fighting the good fight. Saddle up the horses, boys. We're headed south. Yeehaw. Sincerely, Chris Singletary. There you go. You asked and you received, right? That is so shitty, though. Is this the same? Hold on a minute. Sorry. Oh, I got another email from him. But it's so shitty. That's one part. I mean, the loss bothers me, obviously. Frustrates me, I should say. But the fact that people stop talking to each other because of sharing these experiences really bugs me. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it myself. I've heard and read a few of the explanations, and I get it. But it still frustrates me. It's wrong. You know what I mean? It's wrong. It's wrong enough that we are raised to deny all this. But they even actually implemented it to us to quit talking to each other if it happens. What the F is with that? Sons of bitches, right? All right. There's more. Steve, follow up to the email sent 2 minutes ago. I want to add the fact that after this experience, I talked to some guys one night regarding this Bigfoot topic, but not sharing my experience, just asking out of curiosity. These guys owned chicken houses where they raised chickens for large commercial chicken companies such as Perdue and Tyson. They told me about seeing a large hairy creature running out of one of their barns with chickens under each arms, heading back to the woods. I have a question. I have a cousin that swears she's seen a Sasquatch in the woods while her and her boyfriend were riding in their boat on the river one day. She said when they came around the river bend that they seen something go up a hill into the woods, and they slowed down to see if they could see anything, and she cut the engine off to the boat's motor and could hear limbs cracking and breaking, as though something large running away through the woods. I personally seen a large black dog run past me about 30 feet away one morning. I was headed to go grab some breakfast about 7 a.m. one morning, and when I opened the front door, took a few steps out, I glanced to my left and done a double take to see in the distance, say 200 yards away, a black figure. What seemed to be a black dog coming towards my way, coming from a dirt field at an angle across a paved road I live on, toward a field across the road from my home. As it rapidly came toward me, I knew something wasn't right, because it just kept getting bigger, and I couldn't process how fast it ran past me and on across the other field. This only took 5 or 6 seconds to happen. I just walked toward my car and was asking myself, what was that? I guess our minds have a way to protect us by repeating what we see over and over until it puts us into a category of justifying it as normal, but odd. And we have peace with that for now. Steve, I've seen transparent figures running down the road. Silver disc aircraft just halfway appear in the sky and slightly rotate, then disappear. A cat walking toward me into what I would call a witch woman. What? A cat walking toward me turn into what I would call a witch woman. Red-eyed, being in a tree shaking it. An orb as large as a beach ball messing with one of our horses, and numerous other crazy things in my life. It's almost normal, and I'm glad that I can accept it and be able to talk about these things without having any negative consequences. The most recent thing was about a year ago, to where I was getting some flashlight and things out of my truck one night to ride on the golf cart with my uncle to go check around his property. I could hear some noise that sounds just like what Canadian geese do when you scare them. And a bunch of them are flapping their wings to fly away. It was this sound. And I raise up from the truck, step onto the door frame, and peer over the top of the truck, over the passenger side, toward the field, about 200 yards away where the nearest water is. I can justify where the sounds are coming from. I do not hear it any longer. I go back to what I was doing before in the truck when I hear the same noise again. I think, damn, what the F? And I quickly look up over the truck, that same way again. Then the sound comes from directly above me, Steve. I look up to my right, slightly back over my right shoulder, and I see the largest owl-looking being you could ever dream up. No, it was not an owl. This would be what you might call a human-owl hybrid, and these wings were massive, making the loud swoosh, swoosh wing flapping sound. It is not what you turn and expect to see. I give out a yell like, "Arr!" and dive down to the ground between the front door and the back reverse open cab door. My uncle yells out, "What the F was that thing?" I freak out and ask, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" He said, "Yes." What gets me is the fact that what in this crazy world can be flying above and see a guy my size and think, what if I could pick him up and haul him off for supper tonight? I don't like to even think about it. This one scares me the most. No one is expecting to be attacked from above. We steadily look all around, but we steadily look all around, but rarely up. Truth be told, Steve, man is not top of the food chain. These cryptids, or whatever you want to call them, are at such levels above us and outskill us at any level. But in my heart, I don't think we know what we truly are and what we are capable of. Same. I believe these things do know this, is why we aren't just being ate up like on all-you-can-eat shrimp buffet. Someone out there knows, and it pisses me off to the max to know we've been deprived of knowing and experiencing the things that are rightfully ours. So consider me a soldier in the battle for truth, because I swear on my oath to God that I will fight to the death and beyond to let truth prevail. Always. One more thing, and this is a wrap. The uncle I spoke of recently went on to meet his maker. His name was Larry Brown, and I already miss his craziness. I dedicate the story to him and the crazy times I shared with him. He would always be up for a cold beer, a pretty girl, and a good time. Thank you for being a stand-up guy, and don't hold against me on pushing the flat earth thing. I have to follow my heart and be obedient to defending all truth, brother. So the seed is planted, and it's up to you to fertilize it or not. The mud flood / Tartaria is another topic that is really starting to show to be truth as well. Check it out, my friend, and all the family of this channel. Be safe, be strong, and I love you all. Sincerely, Chris Singletary. There you go, Chris. Shared, my man. It's a lot of time and effort you just donated to everybody through me. I appreciate you for it and your truth and being honest. There's some crazy ass shit going on. Agreed. Who we truly are is a big mystery. Who we truly are is a big mystery for many. And it's a son of a bitch trying to frickin' dig it up. How long, seriously, has the effort been put forth to keep us like a bag of dumbass peanuts? It's been a long effort. Pretty good effort, too. They were pretty good. They've done a pretty good job of what they intended to do, keeping us all dumb as There's a pickle. What's this? One more and I'm gotta get going. This is titled, The Answer to, quote, What's up with that, end quote. Excuse me. Hi again, Steve. You shared my email almost 2 months ago. And after reading, you said, what's up with that? Because I didn't go into enough detail about my Sabe experience. I didn't want to appear redundant in case you ever read the other previous emails. Hence why I didn't elaborate. The point I made was how people like my twin sister and myself have a connection to the spirit world beyond our third dimension, which relates to our Sabe encounters. The Sabe experience I wrote about earlier took place west of Trout Lake, Washington, in the dark divide between Mount Adams and Mount St. Helens. My husband and I went down there camping with my twin sister and her husband for our birthday at Peterson Prairie Campground off of FR 60. We went there mid-August 2001 in the height of the mountain huckleberry season, but went caving along with berry picking. The first night, my husband said he heard a Bigfoot howling in the middle of the night, which I slept through it. I wish I would have slept through the second night because we both heard a barred owl hooting, which was answered by an 800-pound owl. We both surmised that it was the Sabe again, vocalizing back to the barred owl. My husband went back to sleep, but I couldn't. Mind you, this is 3 a.m., and there was an eerie quiet in the woods while we lay there in our two-person backpacking tent. And as I lay there in my sleeping bag, I could hear the swooping of the owl's wings as he flew by our camp in the night. Shortly after that, I heard the most terrifying, garbled yells I've ever heard. It sounded like an angry primate trying to say its vowels really fast, loud and forceful. It really had me shook up, even though I was raised around animals and had heard and seen many wild animals up until that point in my life. Eventually, though, I did fall back asleep and woke up again at 6 a.m. listening to a pack of coyotes yipping. Again, the Sabe responded to the coyotes, but it was obvious that he wasn't a coyote. When we got back home, I emailed that unmentionable Bigfoot site with a report and received a response back from a person who was part of the Skookum Cast expedition, which was located at Skookum Meadows, 10 miles from where we camped at Peterson Prairie. Not long after that, I ended up at a birthday party dinner for Matt Johnson's girlfriend and ended up sitting across from Ron Moorhead, who flew up from California for the event. All the people at the party were Bigfoot enthusiasts, so the topic centered around anything Bigfoot. When I talked to Ron Moorhead about my experience, he got me in touch with Alan Berry, who ended up sending me a CD of the Sierra Sounds. When I got the CD and played it, it almost freaked me out. The clip of the Sabe male and female arguing sounded exactly what I heard in Trout Lake. This was just one experience I had with these beings, and I believe that when I got lost in the Cascades by myself and heard the voice yelling, "You're going the wrong way," twice, that it was a Sabe communicating with Mindspeak to help me find my way back to camp. My twin sister also had a Mindspeak with the Sabe a few weeks ago. She lives in Stanwood, Washington. One evening while outside, she asked the Holy Spirit who the Sabe were, and he responded with, "The Ancient Ones." Then she asked the Sabe with Mindspeak for them not to hurt her or their animals, and they answered, "We won't if you're under the sun." When she told this to me the next day, she asked my thoughts about the Sabe's answer. I understood it to mean sun, as in Son of God, and not the sun in the sky. We are protected from the Sabe if we are under the protective arm of the Lord. There is so much suppressed and dumbed down in our human population that we have to actively work to bring out these hidden abilities. Our pineal gland, which is referred to as our third eye, has been damaged by chemicals, processed foods, and toxins in the environment, which can be attributed to its suppression. Thanks to the Roundtable of Knowledge and your channel, Steve, I now make it a point to Mindspeak when I get out hiking, backpacking, or camping in the woods. I really admire what you and Sarah are doing for the children to give them a better chance at life and your dedication to growing the Club of No Return by sharing knowledge from the people and members of this club. Keep on fighting the good fight, as it will all be worth it in the long run. If Canada's stand becomes an unliving country, you might consider Eastern Washington or Idaho as a gun-friendly alternative. Best to you, Sarah, and your clan. Debbie Lamond, member of the club. Debbie, absolutely appreciate you taking your time and emails back. Now, it's interesting. As long as you're, what did I say? As long as you're under the sun? Or could it mean, well, who knows? Who knows what it meant? But why don't they speak? If they can speak that much, why don't they keep speaking? That's a question I have. If you can mind speak, why can't you just keep the conversation going and blurt it out? Be clear. Be clear. You know? Just be clear. Speak clear. Answer some questions. Give it up. Why can't we know the truth of everything? Why? Why can't we know the truth of everything? Right? Well, we don't know too much truth. Truth that might possibly seriously count for real. We don't know too much, do we? We know how to get a job, right? We know how to work. We know how to donate 5, 6, 7 days a week of our lives to making money so that somebody can take over half of it in the end. We know how to do that pretty good, right? We know how to do that pretty good. Anyways, I'll bite my lip. I got to get out of here. I got a lot of shit to do. Quick question. For all those out there, I know a good handful of people replied to me when I was looking for someone who could get my app platform up to date for both iOS and Android. I can't believe the mind-boggling, shit-eating luck I have with the tech world. This blows me away. It's frustrating for me because I can figure out and learn how to do basically everything I need in life. Fix for myself, figure out how to do shit. But this, I am absolutely helpless, and it's so frustrating. I've emailed people back, no replies. Currently, and I don't know how. How do you hire tech people on the other side of the world or another country? I know you can get the same qualified people, say in India, Bangkok, Pakistan, whatever. I don't know how to do that. How do you hire people overseas like that and give them access to your app platform? I don't understand how to do that. The people I had in the past that helped me build the apps, well, he's out of business now, and he was a bit of a dirtbag and burned me for a shit pile of money, but I still have a quality app platform because the techies that I have hired in the past to help me get them up to date all said this is really high quality app. And then I had a friend of a friend working for me on the side, and she, I think, has some personal issues, obviously. Whatever, she's kind of faded away, and it seems to be all over the map. And that's fine. But it still leaves me trying to figure out how to find somebody to help me with this shit. And right now, currently, I believe the videos aren't playing, but the audio is, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's frustrating. So I found somebody in Nanaimo, another business, the other day, and what did I do? I phoned, left a voice message. I think on Friday, they phoned me back, left a message on an email. I emailed the email. It keeps coming back as undeliverable. Of course, right? And I finally found somebody right here. I can talk to them in person and get them to help me out. Phoned there 3 more times yesterday. No answer, no replies. I'm like, holy fuck. So, if you are qualified and do this for a living, I'm kind of over the do it on the side people. I need somebody professional who's going to do a good job and help when help is needed. I got big plans for the platform that I've custom built, and it took me so much money. It was ridiculous. Anyway, so if you can help me out, email me at proguide66@howtohunt.com. Proguide66, the number, at howtohunt.com. Okay? Not if you think you can do it. Not if you might have time on the side to do it. Full-on business attitude. Let's get this shit done is what I'm after. Qualified, professional, good, solid, experienced help. Okay? Please. Who knows? Maybe this guy's going to email back today. I don't know. We'll find out. Now, other than that, share my story at howtohunt.com. So if you're going to get your truth shared word for word here or somewhere. I don't give a shit if you share it through me or not, just as long as you speak openly. All right? That's what I need you to do. That's what we all need everyone to do. Quit being scared. Quit being scared. Share it. Get it out. All right? Okay. I gotta go. Here we go. Another day. I'll be back.